Hello and welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percita's Paradox. So it is Tuesday, beginning of a new week. We're feeling good. Thank you to all of you who have joined me today. To my new subscribers, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. And if you are joining me for the first time for my first video with you, I greatly appreciate your time, effort, and energy. For all of the people who are returning, you know I love you. I continuously tell you that, but I want to express it even more. Coming through Black History Month, I realized the last video I did not actually give you a Black History Month fact. So we're going to have to do better about that. But as it is, today is Tuesday, and I don't know about you, but I am really looking forward to the end of this week. It is going to be a tumultuous week for me, and I know that going into this lovely week already on Tuesday. But I look forward to the outcome. It's almost like understanding that the hard work's going to pay off. And this is definitely one of those types of weeks. In saying that, I wanted to touch on the subject of recycling friends. And you might say, well, what does that mean? It's like, I just want to know, are you ever finding yourself recycling friends and then realize you're recycling friends for all of the wrong reasons? Meaning, I hate to say it, but, they were just kind of crappy friends. But you find yourself in this lonely place and you don't really know how to address it, and you're trying to be your authentic self and say to you, you're able to understand the person and move through it, and, whatever drama you're telling yourself. I'm noticing that I do it less. It's the first thing I'm really thankful about. But I do find myself entertaining individuals that I absolutely know are just not for me, right? And I can think of a few other adjectives, but for the sake of just not losing the je ne sais quoi of this channel, I'll simply say they're just not worth recycling, right? So it's like, when you think of recycling a friendship, what are the criteria for that? Do you actually find yourself only identifying with the lonely moment, or are you still going to be authentic even if you decide to recycle, which is fine? But are you authentic in understanding that they really are not good people, but you're still finding yourself being willing to deal with whatever it is that they bring to the table or that they don't bring to the table, and it's just your decision. So you can no longer look at it as if you're not aware of the possible outcome. Now, don't get me wrong, people will hit me with a Percita, but people change, and who are you to judge? Look, boo, not judging on any level other than absolute common sense and what's expressed. And what I mean by that is I will never know what's in someone's head. I can only go off of what individuals will tell me directly or what I've seen them doing, and I translate, right? Because life is perception, no matter how we flip it. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you look at the interactions and the environment that you in, I always find myself stopping to ask, is this something that is going to be qualified in my future existence? Is it going to be the type of person or relationship or outfit or video that if someone looks back on it for years to come, that I'm going to be proud of, right? And to be perfectly honest, I want to be proud of my friends. I want to be in a place where I can say that I am somehow connected to something that's progressive and successful. I mean, anyone does, right? I mean, would we not be truthful to ourselves if we said, like, that is the true outcome? No one is really promoting their friend that's not quite on the up and up, right? You almost don't want the association. So I think what I'm trying to say is that when we think about friendships, do we actually take that into account? Or are you finding yourself recycling people in and out of your life, and maybe they're doing the same to you? Maybe people have done it to me, trying to see what you can get from them. Ooh, that's real deep, because some of y'all just don't want to own the fact that you don't really care for the person. You have some type of envy or something going on, but you don't really care for the person because your actions don't reflect any sense of caring. And I'm a big advocate on, like, I don't care how important my friends are. If you don't have any time for me, then, it's not a friendship, because I'm a needy friend. That sounds funny, right? But I don't mean I'm a needy friend in necessarily the aspect of the person's time. I'm a needy friend in the aspect of sheer respect and admiration for one another, sheer connection on being aware of time that's been elapsed in between, and nothing more than a simple miss you is important to me. So I find that needy because some people, pride themselves on talking about relationships where, we may have not talked for years and years and years, but we pick right back up where we left off. To some degree, yeah, I have plenty of scenarios that I can say that it feels like that, but there's always this weird moment in those types of friendships where you can't really quite catch up, and you really only are highlighting the good parts of your life. So I feel as if you think about people that you cherish or things that you cherish, you just spend the time with it. You actually interact with it a little bit more often than the things that you don't. And I like to tell my friends that the older I've gotten, the more that I recognize that is important to me. So I call myself needy because I don't want to be the person anymore who's the, it's been so many years, but we still, pick up where we left off. True. But that type of a friendship is not the type of depths of relationships that I'm looking for in my latter years. Back when I wanted to believe that busy was prosperous, right? And overworking was a good thing. When now I really understand that overworking is a trauma response. We're going to talk about that on Thursday. It's just something that I am completely aware that I don't want to be a part of. So when I now find myself even attempting or desiring to recycle a friendship, I have to ask myself, what is truly my intent? And sometimes in the middle of that thought, I have to stop and actually walk away. And to say that it's not a position of me feeling like I'm better than the person. It's a position of me understanding that as much as I'm talking about being authentic, that would not be an authentic gesture. That would not be something that I can intentionally say is not selfish. My goal in life is to not necessarily walk through the selfish, lane all the time. At some points and aspects of our lives, I think it's very important for us to identify ourselves first. In that, when it's not something that is initiated in a position where it has to happen, meaning it's a choice, right? And it's a choice that you selectively adapt to on a daily. I don't really feel as if selfishness is necessary. Now, there are those few people in life that I can simply say, I know that they're using me and I know that I use them. And what I mean by that is that I can call a person to possibly gossip or find out some information about someone and vice versa. I wouldn't necessarily call us friends, but I would say that we are messy associates and we can absolutely interact that way. But in the exact same breath, when I'm referring to recycling friendship, let me be clear on I'm referring to someone that you would absolutely identify as a friend. And not this Instagram, queens and, all kinds of craziness that I see where people are just now friends and you have no idea who the person is, but, your social media friends, and somehow you think that that's actually the people that know you. I always like to tell people who believe that, give that to them, because clearly social media is all they have in their name. True depth is what I'm referring to. Like, I know that you all love me from what you think you know. And at any given moment in time that you can absolutely walk away and say, ooh, girl, not the one. But there's some relationships that are based on this type of foundation that the convolutedness of it makes a person actually believe that people are their friend. Now, you might say, oh my God, Percita, well, what is that supposed to mean? Like, you don't really think that I care? Of course I know you care. You're watching my channel. You watch it faithfully. I appreciate that. And I appreciate that I have something to bring. But I do understand that at the moment that I do not have something for you to earn or learn from, the relationship, the friendship, whatever you want to call it, the association, the camaraderie, the constituent status would change. The difference between me and most is that that's complicated for people to see. Now, I am hoping that this would not be something that you recycle, but then I giggle to myself and say it's actually very true in the social media world. We find ourselves recycling even who we follow and how we interact with each other on social media. So we too would be recycled friends. And now the beauty of social media is that we've given this illusion that the friend word really holds no value, right? I mean, I'm happy that we're speaking more on the level of followers more so than friends, because I think to misuse or misrepresent the word friend as bad as we have over the last 20 years, if not more, has really convoluted what we mean when we put in time and effort into our relationships, particularly with people, obviously, of non-romantic senses. That's what I mean by friendship. I would hope and honestly, identify the strategicness of when you think to recycle what I would consider friendship, someone that you know beyond the premise of just these walls of social media. And I say these walls because you can pretty well be whatever you want to be in social media. And when you can do that, and it allows you some sense of self-worth in that, sometimes you lose yourself trying to sustain people and their expectations of you. I'm clear in understanding at any given moment that I am not giving you something that you want. You would consider yourself not following me anymore. And in that, I could take it personal and say, oh my God, they're not really my friend. And what happened? And a lot of that happens in the social media realm because a lot of quote unquote creators, thank God we're not calling them influencers anymore, feel as if it's a personal journey. I don't take it offensive to not be liked by everyone. I don't take it offensive to not be considered everyone's cup of tea. But what I do take offensive is the person who takes the time to only follow me or quote unquote befriend me from a social media realm to simply demean or belittle. It takes a lot of time. I understand some people got that kind of time, especially with COVID. But being truthful, it just to me makes no sense. So when we're thinking about the type of people that once you've gotten to know them and maybe something happened, maybe you fell out, whatever it is, transpires, and then you're in a space where you then take the time to recycle and try to recreate it again, it puts you in a space where you have to ask yourself, was that worth it? I mean, and if I really am going to recycle the friendship, am I really owning the fact of why I'm doing it? And do I really want to put forth the effort? Because my God, if you actually stop being someone's friend for whatever reason, and I say it loosely like that. Again, we're talking about real friendships, not some, crap. And you take the time to then recycle the friendship. That means seek them out. That means, whatever, reconnect, however you want to think about it. And then you still don't put forth any effort to sustain it. You should really ask yourself, what was the intent? Because I promise you the other person is asking, what was the intent? If I am trying to be in a energy of being in a person's life and I want them back into my life, I would hope that they would understand that it would be very important for me to spend time. And that could be anywhere. That could be on the phone. That could be, in writing. That could be via email. But time for me is everything. So I am the type of person that says, if I mean something to you, then you will give me some of your time. Some people don't feel like that. Don't get me wrong. I do like gifts and I do love acts of service. If you don't know about the 5 love languages, we'll talk about that later. But Gary Chapman wrote a fantastic book about it. And he speaks of these 5 love languages. And I say that to tell you that your girl owns a few in her repertoire that I would tell you that are important. But time is definitely an important factor for me. And I've noticed, and I've had people come back into my life who wanted to quote unquote rekindle our friendship, but put absolutely no effort into ever giving me time. And it's funny because I'm only going to pursue it a couple of times before I'll find myself kind of growing weary, because I don't like rejection. No one likes rejection. But it's also just the premise of I feel like I'm working harder than I have to. And then I kind of fall off. And it's funny because I'm always in a space of reconciling in my brain, is that exactly the way that I want to come off and be? And it's not that I don't want to be around the person. I'm just a person who says, you're just not that busy, right? I want to believe that if I was, Oprah Winfrey, and I look at how big Oprah is, Oprah still has time for the people she wants to have time for, if you catch what I'm saying. So there's never enough stuff that could make a person, to me, not spend any time with you if they want to spend some time. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? I'm just simply saying, when you're going to recycle a friend, make sure you understand those aspects and make sure you understand why the friendship didn't work in the first place. So there you have it. I look to it. I say to myself, like, if I'm going to recycle friends, if I'm choosing to recycle friends, then I'm going to really pay attention to all of those aspects. If I am recycling friends, I'm also going to pay attention to who they actually are. So then you see how you don't really have a lot of heartache the second time around, because if you choose to go back, then it's your identity of understanding that you're telling yourself and the other person that you're accepting them the way they are. If they continue to do something that you've already discussed that wasn't supposed to be there, then that's something for a whole nother conversation. But today we're talking about, are you recycling friends? If you are, what does it look like? If you've been successful or non-successful in it, and what advice you would give to others. Lots for you to think about, but I just want you to absolutely understand and think about it, right? Right. So I don't have a Black History fact, and that's sad that I can't think of one off the top of my head because I'm thinking of a few, but I don't want to mispronounce words or give you wrong dates. So I will promise on Thursday I'll be better at this, and I'll actually have a fact written down and be super smart. But today, we're just going to say, did you ever answer my question about the situation I gave you before? You probably like, what situation? I'm going to put a card up to make you go back and look at the last video where I asked the first and only question I asked about Black history to see if you actually have the answer to it. For those of you who answered, I'm not referring to you. And also, I put a disclaimer up on my last video identifying that a lot of you come at me real tough. Because you do not want to put your personal information on the channel. Makes perfect sense. And to be perfectly honest, until I get to a place where I get those type of people, because currently there's a lot of you, but there's not a lot of you that are willing to share. The people who do share, look underneath the comments and there'll be the email. It's percitasparadox@gmail.com. Feel free to send the message there. If you have some input, send it there. And we can go there if you don't want to put it underneath the comments. But what I am asking is that everyone hits the like button. Okay? I never ever ask for stuff like this. I never do a call of action. I say like the like button or like the dislike button, but hit a button, people. I'm trying to upsell, or what is it? Upvote. I think it's called upvoting my videos and get more exposure. So I'm looking to you to help. You guys are sharing like crazy. That's amazing. And people watch, and I greatly appreciate it because my watch time is fantastic. What I'm looking for is the thumb. So give me the thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up. That's the thing. Thumbs up. Other than that, know that I thank you so much for joining me as always. I'll see you Thursday. Valentine's Day is coming up. I don't know what you guys are doing for it. I'm interested to know how excited you are about it. So let's chat about that a little bit on Thursday also. And as always, I'm just going to end it with the 3 things that I'm always hoping that you do. Live life authentic. No matter what people say, no matter what comes your way, always know at the end of all of your sentences and all of your intentions and all of your perspectives and perceptions of things, know that they're authentic. Know that you are not falling susceptible to anything more than your authenticity. Again, as always, thank you so much, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.